ultimate comfort food that's creamy, savory, and wrapped in a flaky puff pastry? Well, today we're going to be making the best homemade chicken pot pie. This recipe is perfect for those days you want something comforting, or if it's a little cold outside, great for meal prep or just an easy weeknight meal. Stay tuned and I'm going to show you how I do it step by step. Here are the ingredients we're going to be using today to make this meal come to life. For a rich and creamy base, we're going to be using some heavy whipping cream along with some chicken broth and some flour. For our veggies, we're going to be using an onion, a couple of cloves of minced garlic, some celery, a bag of frozen mixed veggies, and a potato. The potato makes the meal a little more hearty and I love that. For the chicken, we're going to be using rotisserie chicken, or if you'd like, you can opt for some chicken breast. I prefer to save time, so we're going to be using a rotisserie chicken and I'm just going to shred it. We're going to need some butter. We are also going to need some thyme and a few of the spices that I'll get into later on in the video. Please don't forget your puff pastry. That is the most important ingredient in a chicken pot pie. I know it says pie, but I don't use a pie crust. But if you do, let me know in the comments below whether you're team puff pastry or team pie crust. In this house, we're team puff pastry. So let's get into it. So now we're just going to chop up our veggies. We have an onion. I'm going to chop up a few celery stalks and I'm going to peel and cut my potato into some small pieces. I don't want it too chunky, and I have my minced garlic here. It's about 2 cloves. I don't really like huge chunks of celery, so I'm going to dice it up a little more fine. If you find yourself crying a lot when you're cutting an onion, try sticking it in the freezer for a few minutes before you chop it, and I guarantee you it will reduce your tears. Nobody want to cry when they cut an onion. Once you cut your onions and your celery or minced your garlic, you can go ahead and peel your potato. Peeling your potato in a bowl or a pot you're not going to use is so helpful when it comes to cleanup. Even with the onions, when you're peeling off the layers of the onion to cut it, put it in a bowl so that way when it's time to discard of it, it's all in one spot. You don't have to worry about cleanup much. Just toss it in the trash. To prevent your potatoes from browning, place them in a bowl of water with some ice. Once you've removed the bone from your rotisserie chicken, or once you've cooked your chicken breast, we're gonna go ahead and slice it up. Bringing out my Wolverine claw. Literally just shred it on up. After you've shredded your rotisserie chicken or your chicken breast, we're gonna start putting everything together and assembling our chicken pot pie. Now we're gonna put about 2 tablespoons of butter into our Dutch oven. And while that's melting, we're gonna go ahead and add in our onions and our celery. Once your onions are just about translucent, we're gonna go ahead and add in our minced garlic. After about a minute or so, you want to go ahead and add in about 2 tablespoons of flour to make our roux. Make sure you mix it constantly because nobody wants clumpy flour in their food. And once you see that it's developed some sort of paste-like consistency, we're going to go ahead and add in 1.5 cups of some chicken broth. Then we're gonna go in with a cup of heavy whipping cream for that silky and rich creamy base. We're gonna let this simmer for a couple of minutes just so all the flavors combine. And then we're gonna start adding in our veggies and our spices and of course our chicken. The first veggie we're gonna throw in is our diced potatoes because these take a little longer to cook. We're gonna let our potatoes simmer for a little bit just so they soften. Once the potatoes have simmered for about 5 minutes, we're gonna go ahead and add in our chicken. And then we're gonna go ahead and add in our veggies. It should really start looking like a chicken pot pie now. Now will be the perfect time to preheat your oven to 400, just so when it's time to put the chicken pot pie in the oven, it'll be ready and we won't have to wait too long. Once everything is in the pot, we're gonna go ahead and start seasoning. I'm using some garlic powder, some onion powder, some all-purpose seasoning from Kinder's, a little bit of smoked paprika, some parsley flakes, and for a little bit of a boost, I'm using some white pepper. I'm also going to throw in a couple of sprigs of thyme. And then we're gonna mix everything together. So now we're just gonna let this simmer on low while we assemble our puff pastry in our baking dish. All right, so now we're going to assemble our pot pie. Just gonna brush a little bit of oil in there so it doesn't stick to the bottom. And then we're gonna start with 1 sheet of puff pastry. It's okay if it doesn't fit perfectly. Now we're gonna go in with our delicious pot pie. And you kind of want to spread it out so it's all even. And now we're going to add in the top layer of the puff pastry. Kind of tuck it in on the sides. Make sure it's covering the whole thing. So once everything's nice and tucked, we're going to go ahead and brush it with some egg wash. You want to make sure you make a couple of slits so that the steam can escape. I'm doing like a little firework design, nothing too special. And now you're ready to put it in the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. It's been 25 to 30 minutes. I let my chicken pot pie bake. You look at this crust. This came out beautifully. Listen to this. Now it's time to dive in. Wow. This came out absolutely perfect. If you'd like to see more recipes like this, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm gonna go enjoy this. Y'all be blessed.